Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
It's wonderful to see you guys today.
So we have another mantra we're going to add to our mantra playlist for you guys to delve into. And so this one comes out of the Buddhist path. And, Buddhism has grown in popularities again after being almost decimated in the past through persecution. And we've seen that with so many different philosophies that really tell people to just simply go within. Everything is within. Because there's no control in that, really. If everything is really all about going within and self-realizing, realizing who you are, realizing exactly what you are, knowing that you're more than the body and that you've lived before and you will live again, more than likely.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. But what path of going within is right for you? There's so many different ways to do this.
And you might have had a life in the past as a Buddhist. Perhaps you've had a life in the past as a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu, as a shaman, as a myriad of different things. Life is all about discovering. It's all about discovering you.
And that's really important to do, especially in these times when things are so chaotic. They want you looking on the outside, but we're going to teach you how to go within.
And we're trying to dissolve the ignorance because so many people have only looked at one thing, one point of view. Perhaps only been born Baptist and you stayed that the whole life, haven't explored anything else, or born Catholic. And that's all you've ever explored. Or maybe, you were born in a different country, like a communist country, and been born an atheist and never really looked at it at all. Never delved into other possibilities. And maybe you've always thought that just all we got is here and now, which is true in a sense. But we are eternal beings having a limited human experience at the moment. But we are much, much more than that. So the breaking down of the barriers of ignorance, which lies at the root cause of so much trauma and so much, war and hatred and just everything that keeps us divided. If we could understand each other and each other's paths better, it'd be a much better world. So when we look into Buddhism, we see there is the Noble Eightfold Path. So right view is one spoke in the wheel, or we could look at it as like a lotus flower. It's one branch. Right intention, right? So right view is know the truth. Right intention, free your mind of evil. Right speech, say nothing that hurts others. Wouldn't that be a world-changing event if we always all did that all together at the same time? Right action, work for the good of others. Right livelihood, respect life. Right effort, resist evil. Right concentration, practice meditation, because that leads to the discovery of your true self. Right mindfulness, control your thoughts, learning how to control your thoughts. Well, one of the best ways to learn how to control your thoughts is through mantras. And so this is one of the most prevalent and popular mantras in the world.
I love this one. This one's a lot of fun.
And so it's pronounced Om Mane Padme Hum. And it has various meanings. One more literal interpretation is the jewel is in the lotus. And we see the path to enlightenment is found in the wisdom of the Dharma. And the Dharma is the way. The Dharma is the path. And here we are looking at Mahalakshmi, which is the Hindu goddess of prosperity. And in her Maha state, or higher state, the great state, she is like Shakti. So she is the divine feminine. And what is she seated in? She's seated in the lotus. And so time and time again, we see these same symbols coming up, and they symbolize enlightenment, basically, understanding. And of course, she's glowing. And if we look at Buddha, he's glowing. That's their auras, their energies that they give off. And so we see, what are some of the benefits of chanting Om Mane Padme Hum? The benefits of reciting the Compassion Buddha mantra are infinite, like the limitless sky. Even if you don't have much intellectual understanding of Dharma, even if the only thing you know is Om Mani Padme Om, still the happiest life is one lived with an attitude free of the 8 worldly concerns. If you live your life with a pure attitude, free of attachment, and so that's one of the things that we really are striving to overcome, is that attachment. And it's something that has to be meditated upon, really, because we could intellectualize things, run them through the left brain. But if you don't let them sit in your heart and don't go deep, deep within, really, really going within and discovering, what are your attachments? What are those things you keep repeating time and time again, things you can't let go of? And often, bad habits and things like that we can't let go of. Jelly donuts, perhaps.
Oh, yes. Definitely. Those are horrible.
Or, there's other things besides jelly donuts we have to let go of, such as, learning how to let go of jealousies, let go of insecurities, let go of, different, perhaps, goals that are not always in our highest interest, but are in the interest of the civilization and the culture that we find ourselves within, which is not one that has really high ideals, as we could see with everything going on around us all the time. So we have to rise above it. So if you live your life with a pure attitude, free of attachment, clinging to this life, and simply spend your life chanting Om Mani Padme Om, this 6-syllable mantra that is the essence of all Dharma, that's the purest Dharma. It looks very simple, very easy to recite, but if you think of the benefits, it's not all simple. Here, I'd like to mention just the essence of its infinite benefits. Reciting the Compassion Buddha mantra just once completely purifies the 4 defeats of breaking the 4 root vows of self-liberation and the 5 uninterrupted negative karmas. It is also mentioned in the Tantras that by reciting this mantra, you achieve the 4 qualities of being born in the Amitabha Buddha pure land and other pure lands at the time of death. Seeing Buddha and lights appearing in the sky, the devas making you offerings, and never being reborn in the hell, hungry ghost, or animal realms. You will be reborn in the pure land of Buddha, or as a happy transmigratory being. So I find it fascinating, and sometime, I promise, we will go deep into what the Buddhists have discovered on the other side in their meditations, as probably there's very few other peoples in this world that have spent so much time deep in meditation and have actually mapped the astral realm, which is massive and much bigger than our realm. And there's all sorts of hells and the lower astral realms, and those, unfortunately, are the realms where these beings that are so close to us right now, as we're ascending up and through, are trying to create havoc in our life. And when you get past that, then those beings are no longer able to be in the higher zones, even the middle astral realms. Their things are much more benevolent. And then when you get to the higher astral realms, those are actually the heavens that are spoken of by so many different traditions. And still there's much higher than that. And when we go up outside of what we perceive as 4D, and going up into the 5th and 6th dimensional realms, density realms, and we're beings that are very, very benevolent, loaded with compassion, and so close to source. And everything changes. And Cindy and I have talked at great length about this. I'm always asking her questions. She's always, going to either the Devas or the Galactics to get answers. And it's just fascinating to hear things.
It is. It's kind of surprises me too what comes out. But there's so many different ways to go within. And this is just one of the more beautiful ways that I like.
The mantras. And so, again, when we're talking about us, we've been in basically like 3rd and 4th density. And then you have many of the galactics that are in 5th density. When we talk about the devas, like we were looking at Lakshmi, if we look at her as Lakshmi, she is a higher density being. Same thing with Ganesh and so many of the other ones, Vishnu and Shiva, but they are at kind of alternating densities depending on who they are.
They do kind of shuffle a little bit. They have abilities to go up and down much more than we do.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then you have the realms where you're actually going and you're merging back with Source. And we come from Source. Source lies within us. We move outward and away, and we explore as individuated units of consciousness. And then we, at some point, will return to Source. Even dark entities at some point, like the Greys and the Draco and so many other entities that are out there that we might view as negative, at some point in time, they're going to return to Source one way or another.
Yeah, they get to level up or down. It's their choice. It's
all free will. See, we live in a free will universe. So often, you hear things, well, it's the plan of God. Well, the plan of God, the plan of Prime Creator Source, the one infinite source behind all manifestation, is basically free will. And just allowing each individuated unit of consciousness to fully explore itself and fully explore all of creation.
It is. It's really, really interesting. It can go really, really deep. And I wish that we studied this more here in the West, but we just don't.
We have the potential to go even above the devas and the angelic realm. And that's what you're talking about when you're talking about Buddha and coming into nirvana and understanding exactly what we are. Just understanding that the all is within all of its creation. How else could the all be omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent? That's the only way. So obviously, Source is within all of us. And Source doesn't want to punish any of us. Our actions cause a certain reaction, karma, the law of cause and effect. That's of our volition. And yes, there are other entities that could trick us into doing things that are ultimately going to do harm to us.
Yeah, I think the safest route to go is be true to yourself, be honest in your heart.
Always. So this gets into, and that's what they're talking about, being reborn into these lands. You will rise above the lower realms and go into a pleasant experience. And the ultimate experience is merging back with Source, and then perhaps doing it all over again in another way. And what's fascinating is, like last night, we had a visit from an angelic being who has had many different lives as many different things. And currently he's under the dominion of Archangel Gabriel and is assigned to us and to helping us and working with us. And what's wonderful is he answers questions.
Yes, he does.
So, we had asked if he'd incarnated on this planet before, and he's also incarnated on other planets. And that's what we see in Buddhism, is the realization that, oh yeah, I've been a human before, and I've been things that are not human at all before. And I've been on other planets and, other solar systems, other galaxies.
Yeah, that is one of the benefits of being a little higher in density. I feel you get to remember more.
Yes, and even at that, he is basically in the angelic realm, what we would term an angel right now, and yet he only remembers about a third, he said last night, of his incarnations.
Yeah. Which
was really interesting. So there are many benefits to this. And when we really cultivate compassion for others, it leads to compassion for self. Again, what you put out will come back to you. So this is to be cherished. And so it says, when a person who has recited 10 malas, so a mala is a series of 108 beads, of which I think we probably have accumulated 20 of them now. Although we always have a favorite. Like I had a favorite and it broke, and it was like, and I got two other ones and they didn't feel right. And then, got the same one again, which has beads on it that come from Tibet, and they just feel right in my hands. So when a person who has recited 10 malas, that's 10 repetitions of 108 repetitions, so 1,080, of Om Mane Padme Hum a day. Goes into a river or an ocean. The water that touches the person's body will be blessed. And this blessed water then purifies all the billions and billions of sentient beings in the water. So they understand that there's billions of beings inside your body right now that view you as the universe, view you as God. It is written, ye are gods. It's all right there. So it's unbelievably beneficial. And you are sending out positive energy that then saves the animals in that water from the most unbelievable suffering of the lower realms, because we always want to avoid the lower realms. And so we don't want to get caught into, like when we look at the world's drama now, you don't want to get caught up in the hatred. You don't want to get caught up in the violence. You don't want to get caught up in the drama. And you don't want to get pulled into this. This is what the denizens, the beings that reside on those lower astral realms, want.
Yeah, I think the trick is to know just enough to keep yourself out of trouble.
That's not to say you cannot defend yourself, but at the same time, don't go looking for trouble.
Right.
And at the same time, recognize the source of suffering on this planet, which, is ultimately, it's not even really human, but it is, these families, these bloodlines that are controlled by these non-human entities, and they are losing their grip. So recognize that and just cultivate the beauty and the compassion inside. And this will help to alleviate the suffering in your life. So this is such a beautiful one that in essence it wipes away karma as you go. So does when we talk about the Gayatri mantra. A very, very different vibe, but extremely powerful and beautiful as well. And reciting either of those will do amazing things to your heart and also clear your mind.
Yeah, it's done some wonders for me. It's really, really helped the last couple of years I've been doing it. It's changed me.
It's all about purification. It's all about rising above. And so I included 3 different articles I'll give you the links to so you could, look at other interpretations of this. And this one is from the Dalai Lama. A beautiful mantra that can really, really still and bring peace into your heart and start to transcend any negative karmas. And then for a perfect pronunciation, I'll give you guys the link to this, because this is some Tibetan monks actually performing the mantra. As Sassy's she was excited about him holding the big kitty there. So guys, thank you so much for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We can't do it without you. Blessings to you all. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.